Lacone, and we're going to talk a little bit about healthcare. So everyone knows the fix for healthcare is Medicare for all. Okay, everyone knows that's the fix. Saves money, saves everybody money. People go, but your taxes go up, and you don't have healthcare premium. How about that? Health insurance. So here is Claire McCaskill, Democratic senator from Missouri, and she's with Rob Portman. Now, listen to Mike Bonnicle's question. This is my favorite.
How is it that we've arrived at a point where these billion-dollar insurance companies have such a thumbs-up, thumbs-down control, in a sense, of so much of the healthcare legislation? How did we get to this point?
So Mike Bonnicle, whose wife is the vice president of a super big bank, has no idea about money in politics, apparently. He has no idea. This guy who's been a millionaire covering politics his whole life, he pretends he's the voice of the working man, which he is not. And there he is asking that question as if he's really doing some journalism there, and he knows the answer to that question. So why not just state the answer and ask him, what are you willing to do to fix it? The real question is, so we all know that our government's completely controlled by legal bribery called campaign contributions, and right now this is being revealed in the healthcare debate. What is your plan to get real healthcare to people and get money out of politics so we can have a real debate about what our needs are instead of this phony debate, which is completely warped by corporate money? Instead, hey, how did we get here? How do we get here? And so what that does is he lets Senator Portman completely just obfuscate for the whole. He's just like, well, I'm not going to play his answer. It's all ridiculous. And he lets him go. So that just drove me crazy. That Mike Barnicle is sitting there acting like he doesn't know the answer to those questions, and then giving the politician letting him off the hook. Like, why is he going? Everyone knows Medicare for all is the right thing. That's everybody loves Medicare. Is on it. John Podesta was revealed in the WikiLeaks emails that he couldn't wait. He was celebrating he made it to Medicare. Finally. Everybody loves Medicare for all. Why can't we have it for everybody? It's the richest country in the world. Of course we can have it. We know why. What are you willing to do to get it for us? That's the question. That's the question. But he's not allowed to say that at MSNBC because you're not allowed to go against the donor class who doesn't want Medicare for all. So he's not allowed to say that. So here's the thing that kind of disgusted me even more than that. Do you have anything to say about that question, by the way? Anybody? No?
Yeah, it's a weak question.
Okay.
It's not right. Like, it's a typical weak question.
Thank you for...
How did we get here?
How'd we get here? How'd we get here? Really? You're going to keep asking a politician how we got here? Why don't you state how we got here so you actually are doing something like informing your audience? And then you propose the solution and you ask this politician why he doesn't support it. That's the question.
Well, and it gives them an easy out to just scapegoat Trump too.
Yeah,
it's like it puts on the facade that things were just hunky dory until Trump got here.
Well,
healthcare hasn't been a mess for years and years.
Yeah, right. You want to hear the stupid answer? I'm going to play it.
Well, I'd love to talk about our sex trafficking bill too, but look, I mean, the insurance companies play a role here because they're providing the coverage, and
that's it. They have a role here because they're providing the coverage. They're completely unnecessary. It's a whole bureaucracy in the United States that we could just get rid of. Totally unnecessary, the health insurance. And they don't provide care. They provide coverage.
McCaskill said, we got to be sure that people have access to that coverage. And one of the reasons that the replacement was important, I think, is that it would have provided for affordable coverage in the private sector for a lot of people through a tax credit, which gives them the opportunity, whether they have taxable income or not, because it's refundable, to be able to buy their own health care. It would be advanceable, meaning people could get it in advance of having to pay these higher premiums. So, I mean, you've got to have a system where you're with people to come up with lower premiums and lower deductibles and lower copays, and that's what the intent ought to be. And I agree with Claire McCaskill. We got to work together on it. I have a meeting this evening with a bunch of Republicans and Democrats to talk about that. Senator Alexander has announced that his committee, the Health Committee, is going to hold bipartisan hearings. The Finance Committee should do the same thing. With both of us serve on that committee. So, look, we've got to fix this thing because it's not working. The status quo is failing the people I represent in Ohio, and it is.
No mention of Medicare. Not one. Let's see what Barnacle says.
To be fixed, and we can continue to work on this even while we're doing other things. You know, we can chew gum and walk at the same time. Jim Van Dyke. Senator Portman, I'll take you up to talk about
Jimmy. That's it. That's it. No follow-up question. No nothing. That's it. Here's a softball. I'm going to pretend like I'm saying something. I mean, Mike Barnacle. Here's a question that I'm not going to have any follow-up on. You can answer it and they know there's no follow-up. They know he knows there's not going to be a follow-up, so he just goes, hey, look, we got to get to it. We got to work together. We got to work together?
The only thing in that answer that wasn't complete and utter bullshit was the segmented sentence, the status quo is failing.
Yes.
That was the only group of words uttered by that man that made sense.
And then, so they don't go back to Mike Barnacle, yeah, but we all know that the solution is Medicare for all. Everyone knows that. The rest of the world has that. Why don't we have that? What's your problem? Well, we know why. What are you going to do to work to get it? That's the question. And of course, Mike Barnacle just and he hands it right off to this Manook. Let's hear what his question is.
Bill, that you want to talk to, full disclosure, my wife has worked on sex trafficking.
Oh, okay, now if they're going to talk about sex trafficking, I don't care. So, I mean, I don't care about for this segment. So here's the next question. Listen to Claire McCaskill. This is her solution to the health care. This is a Democratic senator, represents a whole state.
Yeah, the most important thing we can do is to do something in a bipartisan way.
No, wrong.
Not get
Sorry,
healthcare to
wrong.
people.
Wrong. That's not
Work
the most
together.
important thing. Giving us Medicare for all is the answer.
Working together in a bipartisan way is by the way, no one gives a shit about that except people in Washington, D.C. I hope the people want us to work together. No, we don't. I don't give a shit if you guys work together or you don't. What I want is for you to champion policies. I want you to champion things that are good for people. I don't care if you don't. And if someone's against it, don't fucking work with them.
I don't know.
Expose them. Shame them. Beat them politically.
I don't know, Jimmy. I just prefer my politicians reaching across the aisle to get stuff done.
The Democrats more concerned with cooperating with Republicans than the needs of their own citizens since roughly 1980. Here, she's got more.
Because what we've learned is when you do it with just one party, it becomes political. It becomes a gotcha exercise.
What? Let's listen. She says when you do it with just one party, it becomes political. First of all, everything you're doing is political. There's no way to do anything in politics that isn't political.
How nice that everybody was in lockstep together when we wanted equal rights.
Yeah, right?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Made it go so smoothly.
Remember we had to reach across the aisle to get... we had to get some of the racists on board with civil rights, too. And we shouldn't have a civil rights bill unless we have the input of racists. So, when one party here, let's listen.
That's what happened with the Affordable Care Act. That's what happened when the Republicans tried to do it just with Republican votes.
So now what Claire McCaskill is doing right now, she sounds like a Republican strategist. That is a talking point from Republicans, that the way they did Obamacare is exactly like they did the Trump care bill. Look, they did them totally different. 10 months of freaking hearings and committees and Barack Obama circling the country, talking about Obamacare, selling it to people. Trump did nothing. He tweeted about it. They had so many amendments from the Republicans that to try to get them on board. They literally incorporated Republican amendments in the bill. So Claire McCaskill's wrong on the facts. And what she's doing is pushing a bullshit, centrist, garbage talking point, which is that Republicans and Democrats are both wrong on health care. The way we did it, no. So, by the way, this is a victory. They just got a victory. They just stopped Trump and the Republicans from repealing Obamacare. They just have a victory. This is how they respond with a victory. Yep, we did it wrong, and they did it wrong. What the fuck? So we gotta get rid of Claire McCaskill. What is the point of having a Democrat with these? She's literally pushing bullshit that Republicans push. Again, she's the one damaging the Democratic Party right now. She's saying they're just as bad as the Republicans. She's the one.
Isn't it crazy too, Jimmy, and we've talked about this, that the bottom line is that it should be a victory that they won the conservative health care.
All right, so everybody, so it's a big victory that they saved a right-wing health care plan that was written by the Heritage Foundation called Romney Care. The Democrats literally saved a right-wing giveaway to health and pharma companies. That's what the Democrats are celebrating, and they should be celebrating, and they're not. They don't know how to do a victory. We got to meet in the middle and only take health care away from 16 million people instead of 33. Is that what you're suggesting, Claire? We meet in the middle? Let's meet in the middle. It's really important.
So what we've got to do is come together and meet in the middle. There are things we can do to make healthcare better, and there's lots of problems.
Yeah, Obamacare has problems, but we can fix it. We need to meet in the middle and make it worse. You think the Republicans are for fixes to Obamacare? What kind of bullshit are you peddling, Claire?
That freeze frame right there kind of says it all.
She's just peddling bullshit. This is 100% bullshit. We need to meet in the middle. The middle? The middle means you take away healthcare from 16 million people. What do you mean the middle? Why are you pretending that the Republicans have good ideas on healthcare? Oh, that's right, because you're both bought by the same motherfucking people. That's why.
Problems with Obamacare, but they're fixable. They really are fixable, and some of it means maybe we go and acknowledge that some of the things we did were not the right way to look at this. I'm there. In fact, just last night.
So they just had a huge victory, and Hull said, and maybe we have to admit we're doing it wrong. What the fuck? This is what you sound like when you have no integrity. This is what you sound like when you have no authentic center. This is what you sound like. You sound like what? I'm just going to say talking points, and I just have to pretend that Republicans really care about fixing this problem. What the fuck is in it for Claire McCaskill to do this?
Well, I think she sounds like somebody that has no ideas whatsoever. I mean,
right.
Just the whole idea that, bipartisanship is always best. That's just a farce.
Yes.
That's just a mawkish, sentimental farce.
Let's listen to some more.
Last week, I'm involved in a lot of bipartisan meetings to try to get that.
Bipartisan is code word for counterproductive, just so you know. No mention of Medicare for all. Trying to fix health care without mentioning Medicare is like trying to put a nail in without mentioning a hammer. We're going to fix health care. How?
Done. But in the meantime, Joe, it would be the height of irresponsibility for this president to continue to threaten millions of Americans that he's going to take their health care away because he's upset that this bill that the Republicans tried to pass didn't succeed.
Yeah, it's wrong to take away health care because you're upset. It's better to take away health care from people because you refuse to abandon the for-profit health care model. Yeah. Because Obamacare doesn't cover 30 million people. I hope you know that. That's a right-wing bullshit plan that has no cost controls. I swear to God, and the Democrats don't mention single payer. They're so scared to mention single payer, you'd think the Russians invented it. By the way, Russia has single payer. You know how many bankruptcies because of healthcare in England? 0. France, 0. That's something. That's something. The number one thing on GoFundMe is for healthcare costs, right?
Yeah, and they celebrate that.
They celebrate
that. They make commercials about it.
Yeah. So Claire McCaskill's the problem. MSNBC we've known is the problem. We pointed that out here. And, they just let them come out and say shit, and no one pushes back. Like, why are you pretending that bipartisanship means good legislation? Why are you pretending like you didn't already institute a right-wing healthcare plan? Why are you pretending like we don't all know what the fix for this is? It's called Medicare for all. We all know what the fix is. It's one big bullshit capitalist gangbang. They're all just fucking rubbing each other. Here, I'll jerk you off. Now you answer that. I'll pretend like I'm saying something. Now you pretend like you're saying something. And I'll pretend like I mean it. You pretend like you mean it. And nobody's going to ever mention the solution. No one is ever going to mention the solution or the real problem. At no point on this fucking news show does anybody ever mention the solution or the real fucking problem. Mike Barnicle got close to it when he was like, why do these billion-dollar healthcare companies have all this power? It's such a Rubik's Cube. So tough to figure out, huh, Mikey? Mr. Regular Guy. I'm a regular guy, Mike Barnicle. I plagiarize like regular people.
I appreciate, though, that all these millionaires are able to keep a straight face when they talk about access to medical coverage. They just stand there, they look into the camera, and they pretend that they're offering us any solutions. And if I hear one more Democrat say that they're going to reach across the aisle,
yeah,
that's ridiculous.
I know.
It's all bullshit.
If I hear that one more time, I'm going to, guess what? We're going to primary them. So I don't know if Claire McCaskill has a primary challenge yet, but she's already afraid of it. But I would like to help whoever wants to primary her. Because we really need it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole goddamn reason she's the goddamn senator anyways, because when she ran, they had the minimum wage on the frickin' ballot. Guess what? That's always a winner for Democrats. Put the minimum wage on the ballot. Okay, we got to get rid of that shit. This tells you everything that's wrong in this one clip. There's the news people owned by a giant corporation. There's your politicians owned by giant corporations. And they're all pretending that what they're doing is informing people. This is the opposite of informing. This is propaganda by corporations. They're all paid by the same corporations to do the fucking bidding of the corporations. And they're pretending. These guys here are pretending they're getting at the truth. It's a big jerk off. It's a big circle jerk. That's all that is. And that happens not only on MSNBC, it happens everywhere. And you wonder why we don't have what we're supposed to have in this country? What the rest of the goddamn world has? Do you wonder why we're the richest country in the world and half of all wage earners earn less than $30,000? In the richest country in the world? Because you got hard-ons like this who are bought and paid for, and that's the media. That's our news. 6 companies own all the goddamn newspapers, television stations, and radio stations. 6 goddamn companies. Not one time did they mention Medicare. Not one time did they mention single payer. Not one time did they mention the real problem, politicians, or the real solution, Medicare for all. And they call it the fucking news, and you wonder why people get their news from YouTube. Hey everybody, the next live Jimmy Dore show is August 16th. That's a Wednesday. New time, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. show. 9 p.m. show, August 16th in Burbank, California. Get your tickets right there or at jimmydorcomedy.com.